If it's a surgical mask, it's not going to be protective against coronavirus, right? Because the air can get in from the side. So buying a lot of masks and stockpiling them just prevents professionals from being able to have access to them when they need them for other things.
If you don't have any symptoms, you don't need to wear a face mask. That's the important thing. There are situations where you would wear one, and that's if you have symptoms, you can be wearing one because it'll help to prevent passing the infection to others. In fact, it can be a bad thing to wear a face mask because you're touching it all the time. You're taking it off to eat, drink, and then you're putting it back on. People leave them lying around. The most important thing you can do is to make sure you have good hand hygiene. And that means washing your hands frequently, certainly before and after meals, certainly before and after going to the toilet. And if you come into contact with anything that you suspect might have been infected, like lift buttons, like handrails, these common communal things. The most useful thing is to wash with soap and water. But if that's not available, then an alcohol-based hand rub is the next best thing. We believe that the virus is spread through respiratory secretions. So that means droplets that are coughed out and possibly an aerosol secretion that will drift along in the air much more than a droplet. These droplets will also contaminate surfaces. So the other way of catching the virus is to touch surfaces that have got the virus on them, and then you touch your mouth, your nose, or your eyes. They're the entry points for the virus. But you should assume that if you say arrive at your desk, you should clean your desk, clean your keyboard, clean your mouse, clean your phone, and certainly keep your cell phone clean as well. So we call it social distancing. Try and stay 6 feet from people if you can. I accept it's difficult on a crowded subway, a tram, a bus, but you try and keep away from people if you can. And certainly if someone appears to be unwell, then you should move away. But if you're in a place where there is community spread, so there are cases around, you really need to try and avoid public spaces, avoid crowds of people, because that's where you're most likely to get infected.
You might want to think about making sure you have enough of your prescription medications so that if it's inconvenient to go to the store or if you don't want to stand in line with people who might be sick, you have your prescription medications. But overall, I think the most important thing that people need to do is think about how we can work together through this and not panic.